All right, welcome back to Currency 365 and welcome back to World News episode 13. All right, so it's the middle of the day or, it's 5 p.m., okay? So let's get into it, all right? Most of the markets, everything is basically done for the day around the world. So let's start off with Prime Minister Abadi, in the statement he just announced on Facebook, okay? Prime Minister Abadi held an evening meeting expanding attending by vice chairman of the House of Representatives and heads of parliamentary blocs and a number of members of the House of Representatives, which gave a detailed explanation of the overall reforms and their importance in building the state and society and the country's security and economic challenges. Now, the problem with this is it's great that you're doing all these meetings with the reforms, but that's also the bad part because there's so many meetings on these reforms and really nothing is really getting done that is in these detailed reforms. Okay, we still have the bad people walking around Parliament and still doing things. You still have the demonstrators still protesting. You still have no electricity for a lot of places. You still have a lot of things. The tariff laws are not in place. Nothing is really in place, but you have these reforms that you keep holding meetings about. Okay, so in the comments section on Facebook, that is exactly what people are telling a body. Okay. Now, of course, somebody runs his Facebook. It's not really him. Okay. Maybe sometimes he might post, but most of the time it's his secretary. Okay. But if you go on the Facebook, they're saying exactly what I'm saying. Enough of the meetings with the reforms and start to put them in place. Okay, we're not seeing the things that you're talking about in the reforms take place yet. The first package of reforms had the tariffs laws enacted. We still haven't seen the tariffs law. Why? Because they need they need a revaluation rate for the tariffs law. You cannot put the tariffs law in there. You also need the anti-money laundering law, okay, before you put the tariffs law in there. Okay, so you need a rate and the anti-money laundering law. Okay, those other things. There was also a removal of positions in Parliament. Okay, we've seen some of that, but Maliki is the head guy on the list of the massacres and the genocide of several provinces and the fall of Mosul, and he's still running around like he's free, okay? And there's a lot of other guys doing the exact same thing, and you have evidence that they are corrupt and they're not being taken care of. We need to see arrest warrants and these people arrested immediately, okay? So we're going to see demonstrators and protesters continue to do what they have to do, and they might start arresting these people on their own if a body and everybody else in Parliament don't do it themselves. Okay, so the economic challenges are. When the body says economic challenges, he is a finance minister. He was the finance minister. I'm sitting here and you guys are listening to me, and we all know exactly how for Iraq to get out of this problem. If we know that, and this guy has a PhD in financing, we gotta think that this man already knows exactly how to get out of the economic situations. So that tells me that there's somebody over a body telling him not to do what we all know he has to do. Okay, there's somebody pulling, because remember, all politicians, especially the leaders of countries, are puppets, okay, to the elite. So somebody is telling a body not to pull the trigger, okay, and find all the excuses and all other measures, okay, to prolong the process, okay? So that's what we're doing right now. They're prolonging the process of the inedible, okay? And why I say inedible? Oh man, you already know what I meant. So they're prolonging the process, okay, of the revaluation and the launch of the global market economy, the launch of the private sector section. Uh, Oh man, they're prolonging it. Okay, they know that is the key to the economic challenges. That's how you solve the economic challenges, but they're not trying to do it. Okay, because somebody's over top of them telling them to prolong it. Okay, we don't know who that is. We don't know who's pulling the strings on the puppet, but it's terrible because they're trying to figure out ways to prolong it while everybody knows that that's the key to for them to get out of the mess that they're in. Okay, so let's move on here. Let's see. The numbers are in. China dumps a record 94 billion in U.S. Treasuries in 1 month. Oh my goodness. Whew. Yeah, I had to take my hat off on that one. Goodness gracious. Wow. China dumps a record 94 billion in US Treasuries in 1 month. Just let that sink in for a second there. Okay, so everybody just everybody's saying that the dollar and all this in America is this and that. Yeah, well, China's dumping you. Okay, so you don't think the rest of the world's gonna follow? China is going to be the leader of the new world order financial system. So you don't think the rest of the world is going to follow China? Oh boy, if you don't wake up now, I don't know who will. I don't know. Maybe a little sister. If you have a little sister or a little brother and they're sitting right next to you as you're listening to this and you haven't woken up, you can ask them to smack you in the face, and they'll probably do it, and they'll probably think it's funny. But hopefully, you'll wake up from that and say, "Okay, I'm awake." China just dumped a record 94 billion in U.S. Treasuries in 1 month. Oh boy, we're in big trouble, guys. And well, this is the reason why we have to counter these things that are coming. Okay, you're not in big trouble if you know what's coming. Have you ever heard that slogan? You're never in big trouble if you always know what's coming. Okay, we can't know 100%, but we can know 80% of what's coming. Okay, so when you know what's coming economically, okay, you can definitely prepare yourselves for the things that are coming in the future, so that everybody around you could go through the pain and what's coming, but you won't. Okay, you'll watch everybody go through the pain, but you, because you prepared and you knew what's coming and you counter it, you were successful. This is why the elites stay the elites, right? Because they know everything that's coming and they counter it. Okay, and when it's funny because people always tell me, and I always have people thinking in their heads, or I always think people are saying to me, John, or why are you well, why are you talking about why are you talking about negative things? Okay, I talk about a lot of positive things too, but why are you talking about negative things? I'm like, look, these things are not negative. These things are just things that are happening or things that are coming, right? All you have to do, I'm gonna repeat myself. All you have to do is counter it. So if you don't know what's coming, it's going to blindside you, right? So you have to know the things that you think are negative. I don't think these things are negative because I just counter them. Okay. If the reason why people think things are negative is because they don't want to counter it or they don't know how to counter it. So now it becomes a negative burden on them. You see, so you just have to know how to counter everything that you think is negative. There's always a counter for everything. There's always an escape route for everything. Okay, so it is what it is. All right, so today was supposed to be the anti-money laundering. So the parliament got postponed till Wednesday. That's actually breaking the law that they signed that the first reading, once you read something once, it has to be done in 14 days, and then for the next reading, and then the next reading has to be done in 14 days for the voting, and then it has to total 28 days. They actually just broke the law for the anti-money laundering on that, okay? Because they postponed it till Wednesday. That's actually breaking the law. That's 15 days. Okay, it's a day later, but it's still breaking their law that they signed. Okay, actually the anti-money laundering law was going to be the 10th law that they read for the day. Are you serious? That should be number one. So basically, they don't care if their currency is gonna be blacklisted in October. This is what they're telling the World Bank, that the anti-money laundering law, we don't really care about being blacklisted, so we're gonna put a 10th on our list for the agenda. So it better be number one on their list on Wednesday's agenda, okay? Or I think you're going to start hearing something for the World Bank. I think you're going to hear the World Bank, the IMF, and the United Nations come out and say, you guys are not taking us seriously here, okay? So, so here it is, the anti-money laundering law. The second reading of the anti-money laundering and terrorism finance law was supposed to be done today. So remember I was saying, can anybody find the second reading of the anti-money laundering law? And nobody could find it until today. One of the guys on one of the subs was said it was on the agenda, and it was number 10th. And then I saw it when I came back from my trip, and I was just shocked. I was like, why is it number 10? It should be number 1. Okay, well, if they voted on the National Guard law, that would have been number 1, and the anti-money laundering would have been number 2. But they didn't even have the National Guard law on there. So the National Guard law, we don't even know when that's going to happen. The anti-money laundering law should be on there for tomorrow, as they're already behind on reading that for the second time. Okay. What else can we talk about here? Let me see if I have anything for. We already know about the Najib. I did that as an article of the day. If you guys haven't seen that, go look at the video article of the day. The translation was horrible, but I did get through it. Najib said that that, what do you call it? She called for the deletion of the zeros. Basically, the deletion of the zero project, because deletion of zeros is retiring the notes. She called for the deletion of zero project and the issuings of bank notes, small, basically the lower denoms, to strengthen the Iraqi dinar. So there you have it. So we got somebody in Parliament calling for them to drop the lower denoms and delete and start the deletion of zero project. Okay. So that was good breaking news for the day. Also, Iraq will start the road show on Thursday for the international bonds. Okay, now some people on the dinar community were saying that the bonds were supposed to start selling today. Or I'm not sure they're talking about the international bonds or the regular bonds, because some people were like, I don't see a RV, I don't see a rate, because today is the start of the international bonds. And I'm thinking, I'm scratching my head like, I thought that was Thursday they starting that. So so about 3 articles came out here. Matter of fact, let me read the headlines of these ones. Iraq begins Thursday to promote an international bond, issue $6 billion. All right, here's another article. Next Thursday, Iraq, which means this Thursday, and for all the people that don't know that, when they say next Thursday or they say next Friday, they mean this Friday or this Thursday. If they say Thursday next week, then it's next week Thursday. Okay, so when they say the agenda for Parliament next Wednesday, it's tomorrow. Okay, so some of you guys don't know that, so it's confusing. All right, so next Thursday, which is this Thursday, Iraq begins to promote an international bonds issue. Okay, so there you have it. Several articles saying this Thursday will start the roadshow of the international bonds. Now, will these bonds sell? That is the question. And people are also saying, why are the bonds going to be in euros? Why are they changing it to euros or USA? I thought they were selling it in USA. I do not know. if it is gonna be in euros, I think it's gonna be in USA and euros. But maybe if it's gonna be in euros, maybe the USA said we need a rate. You know what I mean? And they were like, "Oh, let's go to euros." You know what I mean? So that could have happened. Okay, they could have came to the USA, and the USA said, "We need a rate." and they said, no. And then they went to Europe, and then Europe says, can we do it in euros? It's like, si, senor. So I don't know, man. I don't know. So we'll find out soon. But will these bonds actually sell? Oh my goodness, I don't know. I wouldn't even, man. I would not do these bonds without a rate. So it's kind of shocking to me. I don't know who's in charge of the finance committee, and you think it's Zaberi, right? Or Mohammed Saleh and Dr. Shabibi and what's his name? And Abadi. Why would you try to sell international bonds without a rate, an attractive rate, without a market economy, without a private sector? Why would you try to? I just don't get it. I don't get it, guys and girls. I don't get it. If you get it, comment below and let me and teach me something today. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. Ah, man. Okay, Frank26 had a statement. Let me read his statement here. He says, I left three things out of the conference call last night. He says, in the next 21 days, you will see something epic in Iraq, never seen there before. He also says Tink is still bleeding, but she finally ate last night and took 2 IVs. Praise God. Okay, well, he also says thank you so much for all your prayers and kind words. Well, shout out to Frank26 and shout out to Tink, and we all prayed for Tink. I did the world news yesterday about it, and a lot of you guys liked that video and that audio, and yeah, so we keep Tink in our prayers, and the NAR community is a small community, so when somebody goes down, we just keep them in our prayers, man. That's just how we roll, man. It don't matter what you think. It don't matter what your beefs are. It don't matter what your predictions are or your guesses are. Because at the end of the day, it's just an investment. It's just currency. And we are actual real people and with real feelings. And we just want a better life for all ourselves. That's it. So it is what it is. All right. So that's about it. I think I've rambled enough on this one. Is there anything else that I can add here before I go? No, I think that. Well, let's look at the markets. All right. Europe, FTSE 100 was up 1% today. Actually, over 1% today. The DAX in Germany was up 1.61. The CAC 40 was down 1%. Hang Seng was up 3%. Nikkei was down 2%. Shanghai Composite was up 2.84%. Mexican Bolso was up almost 1%, and Brazilian was down 1%. S&P 500 up 2.51%. All right, so the markets look a lot better today. I guess we'll leave it right there on a good note. Even Australia, Aussie. they were up 1.61% today. So yeah, man. Even India was up today. Okay. They were up 1.67 today. So the markets were very good today. So hopefully people made some money, and they got back, and the 401ks look a lot better today, okay? And your pension accounts look a lot better today as well. So that's good news. It's always good to end on the good news. So that's all I got, guys, and sorry for all the talking, but it's almost 20 minutes of your time. So thank you for listening. Currency 365, share, like, subscribe, and I'm out. Till next time. Peace.